Well, hello everyone. It's Sibyl Star, and I'm here to give the astrology forecast for the coming week of November 27th to December 3rd. Okay. All right. So this week, the sun is moving through Sagittarius. Oh, by the way, we have a full moon this week. We're actually starting the week on a full moon. It's happening early Monday morning, but I just want you to know the energy lasts for several days, up to 2 weeks. All right. But first off, let's just talk about the sun in Sagittarius. And so the sun is traveling from 5 to 11 degrees of Sagittarius this week. Sagittarius is a very experiential kind of an energy. Sagittarius only knows fire is hot when they put their finger into it. It likes an adventure. Sagittarius is very much on the quest for the meaning of life or the quest for the truth. It's known as the seeker, the explorer, and the explorer. And Sagittarius, this journey that Sagittarius goes on for the meaning of life can come in many different forms. One of the ways it comes is actually, let's say, in through adventure, like climbing a mountain or whitewater rafting, kind of those kinds of adventure who really put us in that moment where we're really in the present moment, really experiencing um, the true nature of reality and what we might call God, okay, or source, or creator. And it's also the inner journey where we do the self-discovery. It's an inner exploration. Many people are what are called psychonauts. They really like to travel, the inner landscape and discover about themselves. And actually, they can go, so far into themselves, they come out the other side into the universe and discover about the universe. So anyway, it's kind of like as within, so without, as without, so within. Okay. All right. Anyway, it's the sign of theology, of philosophy. It's about the expansion of the mind and how we use our mind for this kind of discovery. Okay. It also brings in Jupiter, which Jupiter brings in faith in the benevolence of the universe, of all of the blessings in our lives and all the places where we say gratitude. But it also is about our beliefs. And it's really important to understand that our beliefs are our beliefs. And so in our discovery for what is true, we discover our own inner truth. We don't always discover what is truth for everyone. And that's the important thing to remember. And there is cosmic truth and there is personal truth, and they are both true. Cosmic truths really are true for all of us. Personal truths are true for us. Okay. But it helps us expand our horizons to discover both. The shadow side of Sagittarius can be fundamentalism, to believe that our truth, our personal truth, is the truth for everyone. And that's kind of the place where you kind of, distinguish, what is personal truth and what is cosmic truth. Okay. And of course, cosmic truth, is more of a universal truth, love thy neighbor. Love thy neighbor as thyself, the golden rule. That is a cosmic truth. Okay. What our religious beliefs in is our own truth. Okay. They're not true for everyone, they're true for us. And they might give us real sustenance and faith and hope in our lives. Okay. So there can also be a in the shadow side of sense of self-righteousness. And this can be not only just, about our religious beliefs, but our worldview, our political beliefs, all of these different things. Okay. Wow, yeah. So what we believe about food, that's constantly changing. And so we just kind of align with what is true for us at this moment. All right. Okay. And Sagittarius can also bring a lack of focus. Um, Now the full moon, I'm going to show it to you right here. Okay. Let me get it up here. Okay. All right. So here is the Gemini full moon, and it occurs on November 27th, 1:17 a.m. Pacific time. So, depending on where you are in the world, you'll have to calculate it to your time. So anyway, so what we have is we have the sun at 4 degrees, 51 minutes of Sagittarius. opposite the moon at 4 degrees 51 minutes of Gemini. So this is the opposition here. The sun is conjunct um, Mars, so that brings that into the equation, and they're all in a square with Saturn and Pisces, okay, at 0 degrees 58 minutes. We could say 1 degree, okay? Some other things going on at this full moon is we have, um, what is it here? Mercury is square Neptune. We'll be talking about that. And we have Venus conjunct the South Node. All right. And coming up to square Pluto this week. Not so much at the new moon, but this week. Okay. All right. So, anyway, now let us talk about what all of that actually means. Okay. All right. So, full moon in Gemini. So, full moons are, they're very high in emotion. They always, they really expand our emotional bodies. Animals respond to the full moon. Mother Earth, they say, rises 6 inches in response to her. The moon rules the tides, which are our emotions. Okay. And this one is particularly bumpy because it is what is called out of bounds. The moon has traveled out of her natural parameters, and so the emotions are maybe harder to control. Okay, it's pushing our edges emotionally. And the moon has no light of her own, so she's reflecting the light of the sun. So a full moon is always the integration of the two signs involved as far as the teaching or the message. Okay. And both Sagittarius and Gemini are signs very prone to lack of focus, both being easily distracted. Gemini is a multitasker, um, but chronic busyness can keep us from feeling. Gemini is ruled by Mercury, so it can be very busy. Gemini rules the mind. Um, Gemini is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury rules the mind. So often under Gemini, we find a great need to communicate, to share ideas, to, all things that have to do with learning, teaching, speaking. The way we perceive the world comes through Mercury. Okay. And but like I said, Gemini ruled by Mercury. Mercury's Quicksilver. He's here, he's there, he's doing this, he's doing that. We might find ourselves multitasking a lot. And like I said, Gemini can actually do that better than other signs, but it still is about busyness. The moon wants us to feel. And when we're busy, 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 it actually keeps us from feeling whatever it is we need to feel. Okay. And Sagittarius is very much about beliefs, and Gemini is about facts. And, sometimes the facts do not line up with our beliefs. Okay. Like I said, Sagittarius rules theology, philosophy, and it is really our worldview, our big picture. Okay. So and how and Gemini brings us the facts, and Sagittarius makes meaning out of them. It connects the dots, but it's always open to interpretation because it comes from us, from our bias, our perspective. Okay, and so uh, Gemini is the heretic. It asks us to question everything, to use our critical thinking skills, because there are no sacred cows with Gemini. Okay, um, and Gemini asks us to use our critical thinking skills to uncover what is true. Now, the sun is conjunct Mars, which indicates that there could be a fight. We might want to fight for our beliefs. This could be a very challenging full moon around this. Okay, it's because it's the archetype of the creator, not creator, the archetype of the crusader. Okay, it's one of the primary symbols of this in the chart. So we might find ourselves arguing about what is right and true. And so I feel like a big piece of this new moon is really the quest for the truth. It's what is truth. So I want to share the Sabian symbol with you for this new moon. and it is a radical magazine publication for there's a radical magazine publication asking for action and displays a sensational front page. Okay. So it's like this radical magazine inciting people to action. Okay. And so it's action on our beliefs. But of course, Gemini says, question this information coming in. And it's not only in the bigger world stage, but, in your own world, it's important to not go down the rabbit hole of our beliefs, you know, um, because it can really take us there if we allow it. So really kind of stop and question, does this logical? Does it make any sense? All of that. But the full moon is square Saturn in Pisces. And, Saturn is about limitation. He slows us down. He asks us to have patience and in Pisces, Saturn in Pisces is really kind of dissolving the boundaries of our consensus reality. So we come to understand the bigger truth of what our existence is really about. And Pisces is related to the divine heart. Okay. And Saturn says to slow down and focus, and that our mind and our beliefs can guide us to what is true. But what is really true for us lies in our hearts. And it's not even just about, what's going on in the world stage. It's in our lives. It's with ourselves. What is our own truth? Okay. The outer world can keep us distracted from really pursuing what is our own truth. And to know that there is spiritual guidance available. Pisces is the sign that reminds us that we are never alone. And there is spiritual guidance available when we slow down and get centered within ourselves. Like I said, the outer world is often distracting from what is really true. I feel like what this is saying is to find a place of inner tranquility, to be able to listen to your heart. Your heart will know what is true. Your mind is what will make you confused. Okay. And just recently, an ascended master named White Eagle has come to me as a guide. And so I'm going to be sharing his teachings frequently. Okay. The White Eagle is known as the peacemaker, along with White Buffalo Calf Woman. And this is a quote from him, and I think it's really beautiful. It says, tranquility is of the utmost importance because the soul is only receptive to the ministry of angels in tranquil moments. Many times the guardian angel draws close to the soul entrusted to its care. But when the soul is so concerned with the external world and itself, it cannot receive the guidance. It's important to know that in these times of great transition, when we don't know what is true, because the truth really is changing, our reality is changing. Okay. And to remember that we are always held in the arms of the love of the universe. And all we have to do is surrender to discover the truth. To discover that truth is always aligned with love, even when it is difficult. What is false aligns with fear. I love this wonderful quote from Rumi, and it says, that which is false troubles the heart, but truth brings joyous tranquility. They come hand in hand. And so slow down and go within to find your own truth. The outer world will just confuse you if you're really looking for truth. You will know what it is because you will feel it in your heart. Okay. All right. We have Mars in Sagittarius. It's traveling from 2 to 7 degrees this week. And like I said, in Sagittarius, there's a love of adventure and conquest. This is often a good position for athletic skill and extreme sports. And it can be something where we, start things with our challenges with gusto, but we may tend to abandon them quickly because like I said, with Sagittarius, there can be this a burst of energy, but then there's kind of a lack of interest after that, and we lose focus. All right. But it is Mars in Sagittarius really pushes us to have a good time, to have fun. All right. Mercury in Sagittarius is square Neptune. We did look at that. Mercury changes signs this week and enters Capricorn. What day is that? I think it's December 1st. Okay. But first, Mercury travels from 25 to 30 degrees of Sagittarius. And Mercury in Sagittarius reminds us that laughter is the best medicine. Allows us, when we can laugh at ourselves, that is one of the ways too that we can see the truth. Okay. But Mercury in Sagittarius also has what is called open mouth, insert foot syndrome. Okay. And to know sometimes truth just needs to be said, and that's the way it is said. But we can often, if we pause and take a moment, we can maybe find a way to say it that has more diplomacy and tact. But Mercury square Neptune, of course, Mercury is once again God of the mind, how we perceive the world. And Neptune makes everything fuzzy and foggy. Okay. It's kind of hard to see, kind of hard to see. Uh, so it adds confusion to what is true and what is not true because it's going to make you go within. You're going to be hearing differing things in your world. Know that the truth lies within. Okay. And this can expand our vision, but be careful because it also has the potential to allow us to believe what we want to believe, not what is necessarily true. It's a very strong indicator of imagination. It can be a great week for creativity, but you don't want to get lost in the land of fairy. Okay, the veil thins for communication with those from the other side. Fairies, angels, saints, and our dreams may be stronger. Okay, now Mercury enters Capricorn on December 1st. And we're going to be starting into what's called a retrograde zone or the retrograde zone. Okay, because Mercury's starting to slow down now. He's going to go retrograde depending on where you are, December 12th or 13th. Okay, at 8 degrees of Capricorn. And of course, Mercury in Capricorn is much different. Sagittarius is very expansive, a visionary, but Capricorn come in and says, okay, how are you going to do it? Start to kind of putting together the practical pieces. In Capricorn, our thinking is more methodical and our focus, and it does allow us to focus. And Mercury retrograde really allows us to focus. So it's kind of like the vision is in the field, but Mercury in Capricorn is also saying, how do you bring this into reality? Let's talk nuts and bolts. Okay. And we may be able to sort out what is relevant and essential. Okay. As we say, reality enters the picture, our consensus reality. Okay. We do need to be wary of becoming too rigid in our thinking. Once again, believing, our way is the only way. All right. So, but we could use this time. Mercury's going to be retrograde from, I'm not sure when it's I don't have my book here. Anyway, it goes for 3 weeks starting December 12th or 13th, and it's going to travel back into Sagittarius. So it's kind of like we're going to have this ability to kind of go deep, kind of looking at some of these, our plans, are they realistic? Because then we're going to have an opportunity to maybe go back and readjust our vision. Okay, when Mercury retrogrades goes back into Sagittarius. All right. Anyway, we have Venus in Libra, and she is square Pluto this week. And Venus rules 2 signs, Taurus, along with Mother Earth. And Venus in Libra is very much about inner peace and harmony, so is seeking balance. That requires constant adjustment as we are shown where we are out of balance within ourselves and in our relationships. Venus is very empathic. Venus in Libra is very empathic and makes for great counselors. They can see the truth in both sides of a situation, and they have more objectivity. Venus and Libra, Venus rules Libra, and we think, of Venus about, being in love, and that really is the truth. It is that magnetic energy of that of love, of that emotion of being in love. But really, it's also about but Venus in Libra can also be very objective. She's not really in Libra. She's not really all that. what would say, emotional. Okay, because she's really looking to balance the scales. She's looking for more cooperative relationships, fairness, and she uses diplomacy and mediation. Okay, and with Venus in Libra, there could be more of a focus on our relationships. The shadow side of Libra, Venus in Libra, is codependence and self-compromise. Now, she is conjunct the South Node and Arcturus this week, which continues the theme of inner peace and tranquility. As we've talked about the Arcturians, they say they are the masters of inner peace. And I want to say, the group, the Arcturians work a lot with White Eagle. This is all kind of some new information for me that I'm kind of working with, because they, like the Arcturians, are so much about helping us achieve inner peace and tranquility as in the quantum field to change the field. And they're working with White Eagle, who is known as the peacemaker, and he kind of brings things down into a real practical way of implementing their teachings here on Mother Earth. Anyway, so that they really work together closely, and I feel like the teaching is so much about guiding us to inner peace. Okay, because we must be the peace we want to see in the world. It is a frequency shift. It is the frequency of peace. Okay. And they say the frequency of peace is even higher than the frequency of love. So when we have inner tranquility when we are at peace with ourselves. Okay. And there's a focus on diplomacy and mediation to resolve conflict. Now, Venus comes into aspect with Pluto. She's in a T square with Pluto and the moon on December 1st. Yes, on December 1st, because the moon is in Cancer then. So there's like a T square, a moon opposite Pluto square Venus, but square Venus is actually in effect a few days longer. Anyway, but I feel like what this energy is saying, this is kind of what's called the Persephone aspect. It's like when our partners take us into what we call the underworld, and it's so much about healing. We're really learning that, others are our mirrors, and they show us things about us. One that where we need to heal, but also who we can be. It's not just it's about becoming self-empowered, how others are mirrors for us for how we become self-empowered. And one of the ways, of course, is to heal our emotional body. And the other ways, of course, we can see people. Someone brought out something that I think was a very interesting concept. He said, when someone is doing really well in your field, whatever you are, whatever you're doing, and we can respond either one of two ways. We can be jealous, which would be the more shadow side of Pluto, or we can realize they're showing us who we can be too. Okay, and maybe understand some of the steps they've taken to become this successful in their field, whatever it is. Um, or not, or just go on your own journeys, but believe in yourself. Maybe that's what it's more about. It's about believe in yourself, trust in yourself. You can do this too if this is what you want. Okay, so I feel like it's both. It's about bringing to the surface old emotions where we are disempowered so that we can become empowered. And Pluto always requires emotional honesty with ourselves and others, and forgiveness of self and others. And of course, some old relationship wounds could come up that is just simply time to let go of. Okay. All right. Now, the moon this week, what is the moon doing? So the moon is traveling in let's see, Monday through Tuesday in Gemini, of course. In Gemini likes to communicate, think, and learn. Is motivated by variety and curiosity. That would be one of the underlying important words in Gemini. It's curious. Okay. And to use that curiosity, the mind, as they say, the mind rules Gemini, and the mind is amoral, which means it can be used for good or ill. It's always the intention behind it. Okay. But let your curiosity take you where you need to go, because it will open up deeper layers and levels of truth. Okay. The moon in Gemini is lighthearted, breezy, and curious, but also can be restless and fickle. All right. On Wednesday through Friday, the moon is in Cancer. And so, Gemini likes to stay on the move and kind of keep trying new things, whereas Cancer likes to stay home. Wants some peace and quiet. And it's very much about security. A feeling of belonging and security is what motivates us under this moon. This moon position has a lot of healing potential. And like I said, on December 1st, it's opposite Pluto and in a square to Venus. So it's very much about healing our relationships. Okay, any relationship issues that have been kind of lying under the surface may come up to the surface to be dealt with, and recognizing, like I said, Pluto always requires forgiveness. That's how it transforms: forgiveness of self, forgiveness of others. Okay. All right. And then Saturday and Sunday, the moon is in Leo. Leo likes to party, have a good time. It's a warm, generous, loving position. But we also might recognize that we might feel like we need a little more attention. So make sure we're not creating any kind of a drama to get that attention. And it's a strong time for romance and any other creative activity as well. All right. Well, wishing everyone a wonderful week. As we move further into Sagittarius, we've got some wonderful stuff happening, astrological events happening in Sagittarius. The new moon is going to be really powerful. Anyway, but this week, wishing everyone a wonderful week, many blessings, and namaste. Okay.